Airbnb because they are one of the best data-driven companies I have ever seen. They don't think of themselves as data-driven. They think that's a real mistake. They're data-informed. It's more of a cultural thing. So all these companies that are becoming data-driven, it's becoming the ultimate thing that they make decisions around in terms of products and services to develop, the relationship with the customer. Whereas what they're saying is there's always an element of irrational human behavior that you will never see in data. So as designers, they're really trying to stay close to empathy and emotion. And so they will look at the data and then they will test that through a very human lens. So it's, in terms of data-driven marketing, I'm not even sure in the companies that I study whether they think of it as marketing per se, but they think of it as sending signals to the end customer that they care and that they understand what they want. So I think the really sophisticated companies that use data, it's the way they use data is to integrate it into the experience. So they don't think of it as, oh, you've just provided me this piece of data, so now I'm going to push this piece of content on you. It's like, you've just behaved in this way, so now I understand you better as a human being, and I can therefore modify the product or service that I offer to you. A really good example of that is Uber. Uber will rarely send you promotional marketing. What they're developing is really sophisticated patterns of your mobility behaviors wherever you are in the world on different usage occasions, so that they can have an experience and relationship with you, which is literally about how you move around cities. And yes, they may send you special offers at a certain time. If they know that you always go home at 5, it's like, here's a special offer at that time. And I think that's how most people think about data and marketing, but it gets more sophisticated. So if, for example, they see that I'm going to Home Depot and I'm making repeated trips to Home Depot, they can start to see that I'm a DIY enthusiast. And when they form a new partnership with Home Depot, they will tell me about, oh, you can now get your power drill or your Christmas tree delivered, you don't need to go there, or Bunnings or something like that. I was talking to a CMO the other day and they were saying, like, their job has become so interesting, but it's an absolute nightmare, because you think of the role of CMOs that in the age of print advertising, it was a lovely relationship with the agency. And now, like, they have to be this master across the entire business. And I think CMOs should actually be called chief customer officers. It's a better representation of their job because they have to understand all these interactions with the customer. In terms of the talent gap, yes, there is a big void around the data scientists and the programmers. But I think in Australia in particular, the difference I see is a lack of design thinkers. I see a lack of people that can actually take data and take the tech and design it into a beautiful experience. So it's still very much about communications and channels versus talent here that really understands human behavior and how the interactions between what people want and how they want to interact with companies is fundamentally changing. And you see companies obsessed with hiring social media experts, right? People who can deal with social media and they're younger and they can infuse the organization with an understanding of social media. But social media is just an example of not just the conversation changing and the distributions changing, but a complete reimagination of the relationship between customer and company. And we do not have people that really understand that relationship.